The Israel-Palestine conflict is one of the world's most enduring and complex disputes. It centers on a small strip of land in the Middle East, considered sacred by both Jews and Palestinians. The conflict is rooted in competing claims to the land, fueled by historical grievances and religious significance. Both sides harbor deep-seated narratives of historical ownership, displacement, and suffering, making the path to peace incredibly challenging. For over a century, this conflict has fueled violence, mistrust, and instability in the region. The heart of the matter lies in determining who rightfully owns the land and how to achieve a just and lasting peace that addresses the needs and aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. This essay delves into the historical claims of both sides, examines key events that have shaped the conflict, and explores potential avenues for resolution. The conflict has transcended geographical boundaries, impacting global politics and igniting passions worldwide. Understanding the historical context and the narratives of both sides is crucial to comprehending the complexities of the issue and engaging in meaningful dialogue towards a peaceful resolution. Kindly drop a comment, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you for visiting Insight Harbor. Jewish claims to the land are deeply rooted in ancient history and religious texts. These texts, including the Torah and other sacred writings, have been meticulously preserved over centuries, serving as a testament to the enduring connection between the Jewish people and their ancestral homeland. Jews view the land as their biblical homeland, promised to them by God, and documented in the Hebrew Bible. This promise is not just a historical claim, but a spiritual covenant that has been passed down through generations, shaping the identity and faith of the Jewish people. This land, often referred to as Israel or Judea, holds immense religious and historical significance for Jews worldwide. It is a place where ancient traditions and modern life intersect, creating a unique tapestry of cultural and spiritual heritage. It is the land where their patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are said to have lived, walked, and established the foundations of the Jewish faith. These patriarchal narratives are deeply embedded in Jewish consciousness, symbolizing the enduring bond between the people and the land, and where their kings, David and Solomon, established a united kingdom. The reigns of David and Solomon are often seen as a golden age in Jewish history, marked by prosperity, cultural achievements, and the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem. Jewish presence in the region dates back millennia, with periods of self-rule and foreign domination. Despite numerous invasions and occupations, the Jewish people maintained a continuous presence in the land, contributing to its cultural and historical landscape. The Romans' destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE led to a large-scale exile of Jews from the land, known as the diaspora. This event was a pivotal moment in Jewish history, leading to centuries of dispersion, but also fostering a resilient spirit of survival and hope. However, despite centuries of dispersal, a Jewish connection to the land persisted, enshrined in religious texts, prayers, and cultural practices. Jewish communities around the world continued to pray facing Jerusalem, celebrating festivals that commemorated their historical ties to the land. The yearning to return to Zion, a synonym for Jerusalem and the biblical land of Israel, became a central theme in Jewish tradition and identity. This longing was expressed in liturgy, poetry, and art, reinforcing the spiritual and emotional connection to the land. This historical connection and religious significance form the basis of the Jewish claim to the land. It is a claim that is not merely political, but deeply rooted in the collective memory and spiritual life of the Jewish people. The Zionist movement, emerging in the late 19th century, further solidified this claim, advocating for a Jewish state in their ancestral homeland. Visionaries like Theodor Herzl and other early Zionist leaders worked tirelessly to turn the dream of a Jewish state into a reality, inspiring generations to come. The Holocaust, with its horrors of anti-Semitism and genocide, further strengthened the resolve for a Jewish state, providing refuge and security for Jews who had faced persecution and displacement. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 was a momentous event, symbolizing the fulfillment of ancient prophecies and the resilience of the Jewish spirit. The Palestinian narrative is deeply rooted in a long-standing connection to the land, dating back centuries. Palestinians, predominantly Arab and Muslim, have inhabited the region for generations, developing a rich cultural heritage and a deep sense of belonging. Their narrative emphasizes continuous presence in the land, even during periods of foreign rule, and highlights the injustices faced due to displacement and dispossession. Palestinians trace their ancestry to various groups, including ancient Canaanites, Philistines, and Arab tribes who settled in the region over time. They argued that their continuous presence in the land, their villages, farms, and cultural practices are testaments to their deep-rooted connection. The land for them is not just a physical space, but an integral part of their identity, woven into their traditions, stories, and daily lives. The Palestinian narrative emphasizes their experience of dispossession and displacement, particularly during the events of 1948, which they refer to as the Nakba, meaning catastrophe in Arabic. The mass exodus of Palestinians during this time, coupled with the loss of their homes and lands, forms a central element of the Palestinian narrative. They view their struggle as a fight for self-determination, return, and justice in the face of historical injustices. Section 4. Rise of Zionism and the British Mandate, Seeds of Discord. The late 19th century witnessed the rise of Zionism, a political movement advocating for the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine. This movement was driven by the desire to create a safe haven for Jews who had faced centuries of persecution and discrimination in various parts of the world. Fueled by growing anti-Semitism in Europe and a desire for a Jewish homeland, Zionism gained momentum, leading to increased Jewish migration to Palestine, then under Ottoman rule. Jewish communities began to establish settlements, bringing with them hopes of a new beginning and a secure future. This influx, however, sparked tensions with the local Arab population, who felt their claims to the land were being disregarded. The Arab inhabitants, who had lived in the region for generations, viewed the growing Jewish presence as a threat to their own national aspirations and way of life. Following World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and control of Palestine fell under the British through the League of Nations mandate system. The British were now responsible for administering the territory and managing the conflicting interests of Jews and Arabs. The British Mandate for Palestine from 1920 to 1948 was a period of heightened tensions and violence. The British authorities struggled to maintain order as both Jewish and Arab communities grew increasingly frustrated with the Mandate's policies. The British faced the daunting task of balancing the aspirations of both Jews and Arabs, a task that proved increasingly difficult. Their attempts to placate both sides often resulted in policies that satisfied neither, leading to further unrest and hostility. The British issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917, expressing support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, further complicating the situation. This declaration was seen as a significant victory for the Zionist movement, but it also sowed seeds of discord among the Arab population. This declaration, while vaguely worded, was seen by Zionists as a promise for a Jewish state and by Palestinians as a betrayal of their rights. The ambiguity of the declaration's language left much room for interpretation, leading to conflicting expectations and deepening the divide between the two communities. The stage was set for further conflict, as both sides felt their claims were being undermined, leading to escalating violence and mistrust. The British, caught in the middle, found it increasingly challenging to manage the growing hostilities, setting the scene for the eventual partition and the long-standing conflict that would follow. Section 5. The 1948 War and its aftermath, displacement, and division. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War, following the UN partition plan for Palestine, resulted in the establishment of the State of Israel. This plan, proposed by the United Nations, aimed to create separate Jewish and Arab states, but it was met with resistance and conflict from both sides. The war led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, who were forced to flee their homes and seek refuge in neighboring countries. This mass exodus created a humanitarian crisis that has persisted for decades. This event, known as the Nakba, or catastrophe by Palestinians, remains a deeply traumatic and defining moment in their history. The Nakba is commemorated annually, serving as a reminder of the loss and suffering experienced by the Palestinian people. The war led to the creation of a Jewish state, fulfilling the long-held Zionist aspiration for a homeland. For many Jews, the establishment of Israel was a moment of triumph and a new beginning after centuries of persecution. However, this victory came at a significant cost, resulting in the displacement of a large Palestinian population. Many Palestinians found themselves living in refugee camps under harsh conditions, with little hope of returning to their homes. The beginning of a protracted refugee crisis ensued, with generations of Palestinians growing up in camps, facing economic hardship and limited opportunities. This crisis has been a central issue in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The war ended with Israel controlling most of the territory designated for the Jewish state under the UN plan, as well as significant portions of the area allocated for an Arab state. This territorial gain solidified Israel's presence in the region. Israel's territorial expansion included key areas that were meant to be part of the Arab state, leading to further tensions and hostilities. The boundaries established in 1948 have been a source of contention ever since. Jordan annexed the West Bank and East Jerusalem, incorporating these territories into its kingdom. This move was not recognized internationally but had significant implications for the region's political landscape. Meanwhile, Egypt took control of the Gaza Strip, further complicating the territorial divisions and adding another layer to the conflict. The Gaza Strip has since been a focal point of Israeli-Palestinian tensions. The 1948 war left a legacy of displacement, resentment, and mistrust between Israelis and Palestinians. The memories of loss and the ongoing struggle for rights and recognition have shaped the identities and narratives of both peoples. This deep-seated animosity has fueled protests, demonstrations, and cycles of violence, shaping the trajectory of the conflict for decades to come. Each side's historical grievances continue to influence their political and social dynamics. The war's aftermath saw the emergence of a complex geopolitical landscape in the region, with neighboring Arab states becoming involved in the conflict. Alliances and enmities formed, further entrenching the divisions. Despite international efforts, there has been no resolution to the Palestinian refugee issue. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, was established to provide aid, but the situation remains dire for many refugees. The status of Jerusalem, home to holy sites sacred to both Jews and Muslims, remained a particularly contentious issue. Control over this city has been a flashpoint in the conflict, with both sides claiming it as their capital. The 1948 war marked the beginning of a new phase in the conflict, one characterized by territorial disputes, displacement, and the absence of a lasting peace settlement. The legacy of this war continues to impact the region today. As the conflict persists, the hope for a peaceful resolution remains elusive. The enduring issues of territorial claims, refugee rights, and mutual recognition continue to challenge efforts towards reconciliation and peace.